Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Stormworks. In this one, we have a brand new build for you. So definitely stick around. It's a very weird build. I think you guys will like it. It's a little unique. There's quite about a lot to discuss about it. But yeah, so we'll talk about that in just a few moments. In the meantime, I just want to say thank you. The channel has done so well in the last month or so. So you guys have been absolutely killing it. I just wanted to take a minute and just say thank you very much. And if you guys do like this new build, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. There's definitely going to be more. We will definitely see kind of the transformation into this thing. It changes quite a bit, but in the meantime, think of this giant like desert roamer, and you might notice that we are in the water workbench, and that is correct. So the big white box that is laid out is kind of what we can fit in the hangar bay. But I want this thing to be amphibious, and I think that the overall hull shape of it is kind of really important. So I kind of wanted to go down the road of making it float and look good as far as like the aquatic aspect of it goes. And then we're going to throw some massive old wheels on it and turn it into a big truck that does both. So you guys can see right now I'm kind of just laying out the top, and it's kind of strange. I don't usually start up here. So when I do say boat, don't think of it like having a lot of open deck space like your conventional boat. It'll just have like these big round good hydrodynamic shapes on it and stuff. So I'm kind of just getting the top done. Again, I kind of think that this is one of the more important shapes on the entire ship. So we're going to do this first, and then we'll kind of, again, in the next episode, we will throw some wheels on it. But in the meantime, I am going to let the time lapse rock just a little bit. I kind of building a little bit slow right now. So I'm going to let that roll. And when we have a little bit more to talk about, I will cut back in and we will chat more about the overall design and the thought process, stuff like that with this vehicle. All right, so you can see that we got a lot more of the shaping done, and we have this really big wide hole in the front. And you'll see that this is, it kind of looks strange right now, but we're going to put a black wall behind that, kind of set back a few blocks, and it's going to make this whole thing kind of look like a giant cyclops. But then as far as the rest of the shape, it's kind of like this big tube, but it's just going backwards, and later you'll see we're going to cut it up and turn it into what kind of looks like a truck. So like a flatbed truck. Obviously this thing is way too big to be treated like a flatbed truck, but the plan with this thing is I'm going to put cranes on it, and then these big massive hitches and massive trailers that also float. So the idea of it is you're going to be able to put a ton of like the standard shipping containers on this thing and go anywhere with it. So I kind of want it to be like an exploration vehicle / a mobile base, something like that. I think a good reference would be, again, like the Star Wars, like the Jawas from Star Wars. Sorry guys, right now I can't talk. I don't know why. But yeah, I think that would be like a really good explanation for like kind of what this vehicle is. Just something that roams around and takes what it needs, and does random jobs here or there, but mostly it is a inhabitable space that can move around. So in that later, we'll put like a hospital in this thing, and it'll get a garage space, a full water system, all sorts of good stuff. So you guys will see. I think it's a very, very strange, weird build, but I also think it's pretty cool. And I think that the world of Stormworks is perfect for something like this, honestly. So I know a lot of people build a lot of stuff like this in other games like Space Engineers. And it's really fun in sandbox games to have your base just kind of move around. So I think this is a really, really good way to be able to, roam around on the deserts or in the trees or, in the water, especially because this game is mostly water based. So my intention is that this thing has to work in the water. There's no reason for it to not work in the water. So, and you guys will see later, it's funny how big it actually is. You could just drive straight through the forest. It doesn't even slow it down. It leaves this massive clearing in the woods, but, yeah, so it's essentially it's as big as we can possibly make it, and on purpose, because if it's a base, you want as much room as possible. But as far as the trailers go, we'll get into that a little bit more down the road with the build and stuff. But in the meantime, I kind of want to just get this shaped out and get it to a point where I can see it floating on the water and make sure I like how it looks on the water. And then again, we'll throw some massive wheels on it. But yeah, so we are going to kind of just extend the truck bed section, I guess we'll call it, if you will. But yeah, we're going to just take this as far back as we can, and then I'm going to block this off and spawn it in. So I know we're looking really, really, really kind of weird and ugly right now. So just kind of bear in mind with me that a lot is going to change. We're going to add a lot of little like nooks and crannies. But for the meantime, just be patient. It'll change a lot. I promise you, it'll start to look a little good. Yeah, just a little, but right now it looks like the Alaskan bullworm is floating on the water. So we'll get that in, spawned up, and I'll let you guys kind of see what we're looking at right now. Just get rid of these real quick. But yeah, I think that this is kind of overall a pretty good shape as far as what I'm looking for. Obviously, we got to work on more of the lines, but I like the front right here. I really like how that looks. And the rest of it's kind of dull and boring, but keep in mind that each side of this is going to have 4 massive wheels, and then it's going to have a big crane and a helipad and tanks everywhere, and it'll be cool. Trust me, it'll be cool. But yeah, we'll kind of hop in here, and you can see that we have no shortage of space. This thing is huge. Honestly, a lot bigger than most boats, but that's all right. Now that we know that this floats nicely, and it was pretty level, honestly, which is pretty good, I'm going to go around and just kind of smooth out some of these corners and shape it up a little bit nicer so it looks a little bit more like what we want it to before I have to go through the pain of building. But we are going to kind of start, I guess, over here. I think that this wall needs to be broken up a little bit more, and one thing that I don't like is the truck bed isn't really lining up with any lines. So if you look at it from the side, it kind of looks strange. So we were going to sort that out. I think what I want to do here is kind of almost add like a little hip. You'll notice on the aircraft carrier, I did this on the bottom side of the hull. There's like a little step in it, and one of the nice things about this is Obviously this is a lot higher on the overall boat hull, but one of the nice things about this is that it gives a lot of extra buoyancy at that specific point. So if the ship starts to kind of roll or rock, it will prevent that. But I think another nice thing in this specific instance is it's going to give us like a little bit of a body line to look at. It'll make the overall shape of the hull a lot more interesting. And the way that I'm doing that is I'm just going to follow the other lines of the rest of the front. And again, I really like how the front looks. All of the shaping on that looks very good and correct to me. So we're going to keep that. And I'm going to add this little step out. And above that, we're going to get extra buoyancy and then also a little bit of extra space, which is nice. So it'll also kind of act like a fender in a way. And I know that's kind of weird to say on a vehicle this big. We will actually build like big wheel wells and stuff when we get the wheels on it. But that's another kind of nice thing. So it'll almost like act as a guard against the wheels, like a splash guard, mud guard kind of thing. Kind of keep the wheels from poking out and looking a little bit like the Mars rover. But I think it makes the space look a lot more usable. It gives you a lot more space. And then you can see that we're going to bring this out a lot more. I'm going to follow that all the way back, and going back to what I said about the truck bed isn't level with this line. You'll see that the bottom of this shape that I pulled out from the hole is one block below the truck bed. And I know most people are like, oh, it doesn't matter, you won't notice this, but you do. And I think that following these kind of lines will kind of make the build look a lot more put together, cohesive. So you'll see later on in the build that this line right here, it looks really big and pronounced when we have it floating in the water, but once we get wheels on it, it really kind of starts to go away a little bit. And that's very, very not like useful, but it's kind of nice because it'll draw your eyes a little bit away from that. Right now, again, it looks a little strange. Once you get wheels under it, it'll look a lot more balanced, because right now it makes the hull look like it's top heavy, almost kind of like a mushroom. Another thing that I like about it is it kind of seems like this structure is built on top of the hull, on top of the chassis. And that's another thing that a lot of very large trucks are like. If you look, there's a lot of things sticking over the wheels, sticking over the chassis. Everything that is mechanical is kind of compact underneath, and then everything is kind of just placed right on top of it. So that'll help in what we're trying to do. And I'm just going to round these corners around a little bit more. And then before we get done with it, I'm going to just kind of put some floors in. I want to see how many floors we have to work with, and that'll kind of give me an idea for how much space we'll have and what kind of spaces we will have. So after I round these up, you'll notice I'm going to kind of place some doors everywhere, but I don't want to get a little bit too far ahead of myself. I'm just going to round this off for the looks of again, we're kind of just following what a boat would look like for now. And then once we get wheels on it, we'll start doing what normal trucks and stuff like that would look like. But for now, I'm just kind of rounding this out. It'll look a little bit better in the water. It'll float a little bit better. It'll be obviously a little bit better in the water, even though it's not. I mean, this thing's just a giant brick, if we're being honest. But it's the thought that counts. It does look a little bit better, and especially with something the scale of this, you have the block space to play around with it, so you might as well. But yeah, I think that is mostly going to be the hull shape that we're going for. And now, again, I'm going to move on to kind of putting doors in different spots. So there's a couple floors we know that aren't necessarily going to move too much. And this is one of them, this truck bed. So that, and obviously the top of the truck can't really move too much. So I think I only have a block or two to play with on the top. So we need to keep that in mind. And I know I usually do like a lot of split floors and stuff. Obviously with the truck, we're going to have to do a lot of weird little spaces here and there. I think towards the back, obviously underneath the bed, I think we're going to put a really, really big diesel engine. And I think that it's a little strange to put it all the way back there, but we can kind of just leave all of the mechanical stuff back there, along with the propellers and things like that. And then the rest of this space can just kind of just be again, living space, garage, storage, medical center, that kind of thing. But in the meantime, I'm just kind of copy and pasting. And I actually made a little mistake here because I usually like to give myself a block or two above the doors. Makes the it makes the space bigger. It's not necessarily super efficient on how many floors you can get in your vehicle. But one of the things that I like to do is it makes the spaces seem taller. And in that, it makes it seem like the walls are closer to you. And I think that little slight claustrophobic feeling is something that's really cool. And it's very unique to a lot of ships and airplanes and stuff like that, just because it's a very finite space. So every space needs to have a purpose. Every space needs to have access. So I think that is something that it becomes very useful, because then if you give yourself an extra block or two in the ceiling, you can run around pipes, you can run around all sorts of blocks, anything you need, and then you still have head space. And then again, it makes the space feel a little bit more cramped in a way, because you can pull the walls closer because you're not running stuff on the walls, you're running it through the ceiling. And then you're also getting caught less on walls on random junk, and even in a sense, now you have more space to decorate, because it's a lot easier to put random junk on the walls than it is to put random junk on the ceiling. So that's kind of one of the things that I like to think about. So I admit that in the doors right there, that's wrong. I think we end up going with, I think there's 2 floors on the top, and then the lower deck is a hangar, and then there's a split level floor above the engine room. And then below that, adjacent with the hangar, is the engine room. So on the very bottom floor is going to be the engine room and hangar. Above that will be kind of like a split level floor. And then 2 floors above that will be like the control space and the hospital and stuff like that. But yeah, guys, looks like I finally realized my mistake. So we're going to redo this. But in the meantime, this is just about it. We have a little bit more time in the build for this episode, but I figured I'd talk a little bit more on this first episode. If you guys like the build, again, do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I'll keep these coming out, and once we get this done, obviously it'll be on the workshop. In the meantime, if you guys haven't seen, I have also made a Discord, so the link will be in the description for that. If you guys want to check it out, you can keep more up to date with the channel. You can post your creations. It's not just for Stormworks. It's kind of mostly for Stormworks, but yeah, if you want, definitely check that out. But anyways, getting back into the build, I'm kind of just placing these windows here. That is not what they're going to look like. It's kind of ugly, but in the meantime, yeah, that is our first episode, guys. This is the hull. This is what we're going to be working on, and in the next one, we're going to be throwing some big old wheels on it. So definitely stay tuned for that. But yeah, I again, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.